Hello, 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 and welcome back to another episode of Vox Jed. Find about it, and today is episode 52. It is Thursday that we're recording it, and it's been a pretty fucking good Thursday, to be honest. I've been having a good time. How have you been doing today, Vox?
It's been a mighty fine Thursday for me. I sat down today. I played around with my new machine a little bit more because I've weirdly had little time to sit down and do innocuous, like, bullshit with this computer.
Yeah.
I've just sort of had to experience it casually as just like, oh shit, that's real nice. And we'll get into more of that later. But we talked a bit about it on the pre-show. But we had a damn fine pre-show in general. And that's the most recent thing I did today. And, not a lot going on this particular Thursday. Not a lot going on, but it is a good one. The weather's fine. It's a little warm, touch warm, but, you know, everything's good. Everything is good on my side of the hood. How about you, Jed? It's a good Thursday for you, too? You got any particular reason?
It's been pretty good. I slept all right. I ended up going to sleep around the normal time last night, and then I woke up at 8, which is... Typically, I'll wake up at 8 and go to the bathroom and decide, do I want to be up now or do I want to go back to sleep? And today I decided to go back to sleep. Caught another 4 hours of sleep. Woke back up at noon, and that was about it. I pretty much got ready to record the show because that was in an hour and a half after I woke up. And went out, grabbed a coffee, thought the Dunkin' Donuts burned down, made it back technically in time for the show, I would say.
2 minutes late. That's not awful. We've had worse.
We've had worse, yeah.
But yeah, no, good Thursday. Good Thursday. But gosh, this schedule we're on, this noon to 2 a.m. schedule we're on is pretty good. I like it. I dig it a lot.
It's pretty good.
As far as I'll wake up and go. It gives me enough time early in the day to get all my shit done if I have to go out and do anything. And then it gives me enough it gives me enough time for everything, I guess is just the answer in general.
You got me on an old man schedule, though, dude. Because of you, I sleep in an hour later than you, and I go to sleep an hour later than you, typically, just because of my time zone difference. But that still means I'm going to bed at midnight and waking up at 10 a.m. That's a normal fucking person.
Yeah, we're inching closer and closer to normal guy waking hours.
That's crazy.
That is crazy after being a reckless up till 2, 5 a.m., 6 a.m. teenager for a good decade, and then, into my 20s too, and now it's okay, well maybe it's time to shift this way. And I don't think it's a getting old thing as much as just this is the schedule I'm on right now. I think I'm always gonna be this way. Frankly, I think
I'll
for me
always
personally,
cycle around.
I will always be on a, you will see me at age 70 doing nights at 7 a.m. and then going to sleep for the sake of just dude, this is just where my sleep schedule's been at. All right, it'll loop back around, don't worry. You know?
It happens at some point. So something in your schedule shakes it up enough for it to correct itself at some point in time, but it always gets sloppy right towards the end where it's dude, I hear birds, Vox. We have to go to bed. Yeah. Oh man, that really fucked with me. One of those nights over those past 2 weeks that we were having without content was we were hanging out, and I think we had either just finished a high night or we were just really just having a good time shooting the shit. And Wifey joins the call, and they're their sun rises faster than mine or yours does because they're on the higher up East Coast.
They're on the far, far northeast coast, so they get sun before any of us.
Yeah, and they join the call and they're chatting with us, and for me it's 3 a.m, and then their windows open and we just start hearing a shrill whistling,
chirping.
And we're what is that? And then they're oh, that's the birds outside, and it genuinely fucked me up so bad that I was I have to go to bed. I gotta go to bed, man. There's nothing more jarring
it was genuinely
than hearing birds chirp.
No, yeah, and I spoke about it that night, and I'll speak about it again for the audience's sake of just that night, dude, it reminded me so much of that stream, and I'm glad you got to experience it for a split second, where it's dude, birds chirping is the most obnoxious sound in the world. It makes you, it's the most I feel like I'm going insane thing in the world when it's in a setting that it shouldn't be. Like, when you're outside during the day, it's beautiful. But any other setting, if you start hearing birds chirping, I feel like I've got onset dementia, dude. It's awful.
It's fucking crazy. Especially from that, because it was like, for me, I also had my window open. It was firmly dark out. I could see the bright-ass moon, dude. Yeah, it was just, that was a funny moment. But, oh man, it's a good day today. Partially because my ring told me so. My ring was hey, your readiness score from the calculations that we do about your heart rate and movement and everything, your readiness score is like 85, and that's better than it's ever been. Go do something today. And I was like, all right. I'm gonna record the podcast today, but that's it.
We're getting a mighty fine podcast in. We got a mighty fine pre-show in, so I'm hoping we'll get a mighty fine podcast in too. I'm hoping we're not jinxing it. I'm hoping like the pre-show didn't like siphon all the good the good show out of this, and then we're just gonna have a lousy main show. I doubt it though. I doubt it. I got plenty of cool topics to get into. Oh man. There's so much to get into, but it's been a good Thursday, and we hope that you, the audience, are having a good Sunday for when this will release. But yeah, you got a topic to start us off with, Jed? You got anything that you want to get into immediately? Anything that like is catching your eye as just like, I need to talk about this right now?
Sure. Yeah, I could bring up the blood draw that I had this Monday. Finally got that blood draw for my fucking Hashimoto's to double check that I have all the hormones and everything with that. To make sure that I confirmed have it more than just like matching symptoms and hereditary.
Right.
And it went okay.
What do you mean okay?
I went into the doctor's office, and I'm a big guy, as you know, which means that the layer of skin between my veins and my skin is very thick and very deep. So, like, I sat there, and I was like, my veins are a pain in the ass, so wherever you can stick them is what I said. Because she was like, do you have a preferred arm? And I was like, yeah, no, wherever you could stick it. And she goes to my left arm, she puts the tourniquet on it, and she presses around on my arm for 5 minutes, goes, yeah, I think I feel one there. Here, let me try it. She puts in the needle, and then digs around for a minute and a half. And then she just barely, like, lets it get out of the skin just enough for it to lose the pressure inside the vial. And she went, like, she just sighed and threw it out into the sharp spin, and then got another one and went into my other arm and dug around for 2 minutes, and then finally found it. So I've got these like big ass purple bruises on both of my.
You showed them; they were like arms. Your inner elbow on both arms when you showed us like day of, right when you got home, were black. With like bruising, like I thought it was just like a really bad shadow on your arm, and then you opened your arms up the rest of the way and went, look, she went digging around in both arms, and like showed us, and like there were just massive like black spots where like your elbows are, of just like, Jesus Christ, man, she really did, huh? Ripped your shit up,
and then she got 5 big vials and 2 small ones. I lost like over I think it's about over a cup of blood is how much they took from me. I think I did the math, which is like,
I hope nobody's squeamish about needles or anything for this to be an opening topic. Now that I think of it, whatever. We're being pretty light on details. It's fine. Go ahead.
But that's a good amount of blood. That's enough blood that if you haven't taken it, you kind of feel a bit lightheaded. And yeah, that went well. And then they had me pee in a cup, and that was peeing in a cup. That's such a weird thing as doctors.
What, peeing in a cup and handing someone a cup of your piss? Yeah, it's pretty weird.
Thankfully, they had like a metal cabinet attached to it that is literally just like a 2-way cabinet.
So you just you piss in a room, set it on the tray, and then that's it.
And then you leave. Yeah. But it was kind of awkward because they were like, okay, now go take this cup and do the thing in the bathroom and then come back. And then they didn't say come back, and then they were like, yeah, just go do that. And
Yeah.
I did it, and I had to then just kind of awkwardly walk back into the room and like do the like push my hand further into the
I'm
room to kind
done.
of gain
Like,
their attention and be
I've
like,
done that
"Is that
before, and
all?"
it's like, dude, and it's like, dude, it's so weird. I had a thought about it because like there was one time that I had to have that done ahead for like checking something for something. I think it actually was the last time I had blood work done, but it was I was firmly an adult. I was like 19 or 20, and I had this done, and I had to piss in a cup for it, and that's fine, peeing in a cup, whatever. But having to walk over to somebody and inform them you're done peeing is like a weird thing to do when you're older than 5. That is an odd thing to have to do. I'm just like, well, here you go. You know, I'm done with it. You can have it now.
I wasn't told that I was gonna have a urine test walking in there, so I was like
blindsided.
Like, oh, and a urine sample, and I kind of had a moment where I was like, do I just tell her like, I'm not sure how much of a sample you're gonna get out of me right now? Like, what the fuck am I supposed to do?
They'll give you a water.
But yeah, I had enough. I was able to get enough going to
like they have fluids
get the
for
cup
you
up to there. Yeah, but like, oh man.
Never do any serious crime, dude. Never do any like drug related incident where you have to get like drug tested, because something I've learned for reasons we won't get into, not from personal experience, mind you, is that when you are drug tested for like drug crime while you're like on probation, they have somebody stand in the room with you and watch you to make sure it's your piss in that cup, which is even worse because you have to like stand there and like have somebody stare you the fuck down while you pee. And it sounds like the most awkward, horrific thing to ever do. Like, it sounds worse than going to jail, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I would almost rather go to jail.
The jail hose down is pretty damn bad. I don't think I would want.
That's pretty bad, but I could put up with that more than because like at least that doesn't require active participation beyond turnaround, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Oh man, what a bizarre thing that like that hose down thing is a real thing in prison, right? That's not just for like the movies.
I don't know. I don't think they do it at every fucking prison. I don't think they're like hosing them down like Shawshank or Rambo, where they're like fucking like full fucking blast on a fire hose, fucking hazing the shit out of you with it, and leaving like welts. But like, I don't know. I don't know if that's the thing that they do coming in. They do it in like movies and TV so often that they had to have done it somewhere, right?
Yeah,
I mean, you would think.
It's a thing that they do. It's made to humiliate inmates awesome. And to have like a power imbalance, I guess. Apparently,
weird boot camp mentality about prison. Something about like a weird militaristic rehabilitation, you know?
I don't know. It always seems sick to me of just like this feels like it's more for you than it is for anybody else.
Yeah, we treat our prisoners poorly. We don't gotta get it. We're not a show that does that. Yeah. But we do treat our prisoners poorly as a nation. But what were we talking about? We were on some shit. Oh right, your blood draw.
About,
your blood
draw. Yeah, and piss in a cup. But
piss
that went well.
You pissed in a cup?
I haven't gotten the results back. I should probably actually call my doctor after this recording and like double check, because he was like, yeah, if it's been a few days, you can give me a call and I'll probably have the results.
It was only like 2 days ago.
Yeah, no, but it's all in house. It's in the same doctor's office that he works, so they get things done pretty quick there.
That's pretty nice.
That doctor's office is actually really nice. If you're in the Tucson area, or at least the South Tucson area, and you're looking for a good doctor's office, Clinica del Alma is one I could recommend, I guess. But
I love living in like metropolitan enough areas that we can kind of sort of dox ourselves, where it's like, yeah, this isn't a small town, dude. You're never gonna find me, but like, you know, I live close enough to this, you know, enough that I go there and do things, and I can point places out specifically on the show without like, here's my home address too, you know, basically.
Yeah, that's been the really nice.
That's really nice.
Living in like a big area. But yeah. The doctors there are always really good. They actually care about like treating you. It was funny. I don't think I had seen him since the last time I recorded, but he was very nice to me, but he was also very blunt, where it was like, yeah, the doctor that I had talked to, the heart cardiologist guy, who had said, oh no, you'll be fine. You might need blood pressure medication later, but for now your heart's still healthy. You should be all right. That guy was wrong, and in fact, you will have heart failure, is what he told me. But he said it with a smile on his face. and he had a very like thick accent too. So he kind of gave like yeah, no, if we don't treat it, you'll have heart failure. And then he just turned back to his paperwork very happily. And I was like, all right, yeah.
I'm glad we're treating
fine, I guess. Yeah.
Oh man.
What a
moment
to be having with my health.
Speaking of things that have happened since we recorded last, another thing that happened over those weeks that we couldn't really talk about much that wasn't in theme. Epic Universe opened somewhat recently last month. And reportedly it's empty. It's dead empty. Like either it's empty in such a way that they can't tell if ticket sales are low or if this is just a brand new park with a bunch of like different queue systems. Like they genuinely can't tell if it's good park management or there just isn't a good turnout. It's a mix of both, I think. I think it's somewhere in the middle where my assumption, right? People don't want to pay launch day prices for the brand new park. They're just going to go like we're going to go like later this year or next year when it will be a good bit cheaper to go. Because it won't be like opening day prices, you know, and it'll be like standard prices. That's probably all it is. I assume there will be a jump then, because there's no shortage of excitement about this park from like any corner of the internet. Everything I hear about it is like, oh man, I want to go so bad, but like I don't want to pay those prices, you know. And it's like I don't want to pay those prices either. To be fair, if I had the money, I would, simply because like, when are we ever gonna get the opportunity in our lifetimes next to go to a brand new theme park? You know. Like, something that has not been open for more than a day, and we get to go, you know? Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't know when the next time that'll happen, and it definitely won't be for another 10, 20 years, unless Disney decides today they're just gonna rip some shit down and make a whole new thing, but... Yeah, that's really exciting, if Disney buys up any more property, they'll own, like, one half of the Orlando area, so... Yeah, anyway. Seriously? They have, like, multiple zip codes. A mess. Oh my god, really? Disney Orlando covers zip codes, yeah. Oh my god, that's fucking insane. Same thing with the other Orlando parks. I think Legoland is the only one that's... Or, like, Legoland and SeaWorld are the only ones that are both contained within one zip code each. It's just Orlando has, like, 7 or 8 zip codes for the area. It's not that special. It's just, like... You know, zip codes do have, like, a size relative, and it is what you would expect from me saying they have multiple zip codes worth of acreage out there. Let me Google how many acres the Disney property is. Let's find out. How many acres? In Anaheim, it's so much more concise, it feels like, because it was kind of like built into there because of course it's fucking Anaheim, so you're gonna have a lot harder of a time like squeezing shit in there. 25,000 acres. That's insane. That is an insane amount of park space. How much of that is empty? 39 square miles. God damn. I'd like to say most of it is empty, though, because Disney had a habit of just, like... A lot of parking garages in that spot where they park Walt Disney's plane and things like that. Like, there's a bunch of that shit in there, too. Like, it's not all park. But it is still impressive how much of it is. Walt Disney had a fucking plane? I think so. By the way, drive a plane. 39 square miles. For reference, a single football field is 640 acres or 0.002 square miles. Like, it is less than 100th of a square mile. So, they own, like, a county. Yeah. Practically. Which is insane. That's fucking insane. Yeah, and I agree. It is a lot of wasted space. If you view it from satellite, you can see just how much of it is, like, grass and tarps and tops of buildings and shit like that. And, like, warehouse space, you know. Or, like, stuff that's under construction pretty consistently. They have some, like, behind-the-scenes stuff. Like, they do some of their in-house Imagineering on that, like, property, too, I would presume. So, like, there's a lot of that going on. There's a lot going on the Disney property. Oh, I think it also, no, Disney owns this, but it's not included in that complex. They own that big, like, ESPN sports complex, the one that has, like, 7 or 8 baseball diamonds and, like, 4 or 5 football fields and, like, 2 or 3 hockey stadiums. You ever seen this thing? I think it's called, like, the Super Complex or something. Yeah, there's a certain point where it's, like,
there is like a landmass gluttony that companies
Yeah.
can get, it feels like, where it's like, dude.
Well, the super complex makes sense as a space where it's like, yeah, this is where ESPN can host all their sporting events. Like, that space is at least used. Because if you'll go and Google it, Jed, just go pull it up for yourself real quick, an image of this place. And I recommend you do too, viewer, because I can't, we're not quite equipped to pull it up on the screen just yet. But this complex, genuinely, like, you could see like 4 or 5 baseball diamonds, and they're turned like at weird directions so that they can squeeze them in as tight as possible. It's a whole thing.
Yeah. Oh, it's the Wide World of Sports.
It's the Wide World of Sports complex. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Are you seeing this place?
It is batshit, dude.
Oh, this is also in Florida, though. Yeah, this is batshit to look at because there's a section where like there are 8 baseball diamonds, both in like sets of 4, like one arranged weird, and then there's one in like a perfect set of 4 where it makes a square in the middle.
Yeah. Oh my
Like
God.
it's one big diamond, and it's insane. They do all sorts of events there. It's wild. But I do agree. It's like with the parks at least, there's a lot of land that goes unused that could be used better. You know, and hell, I think that like even if you walk around these parks and like you only point at stuff that's visible, you could pull a bunch of examples of like there are like a shitload of storefronts they have that are like false storefronts with nothing behind them where they could totally squeeze something in, or like. You know, oh, there's that ride that's been closed for a while, but, like, the building is still there, and they haven't done anything with it. You know, like half of fucking Epcot, you know?
Yeah, it's such a fucking mess.
Like, the Disney stuff in Florida is, like, Florida's, like, the biggest, like, it has the most Disney stuff, but it's also just, like, with that comes the fact that it's, like, it's like the Atlanta highway system of theme parks almost, where it's like, why is it built like that? And the reason why is because it's been rebuilt and redesigned and rebuilt like 3 times. In sections. Like each piece of this place has been touched up more than once. Like to a considerable degree and overhauled. With the exception, I think, of Cinderella's Castle. I think like that and Main Street are pretty much all still like as were. You know, with like updated like shit to do there, but like none of the buildings were like torn down and rebuilt or anything, far as I know. But that's what I mean is just that it just becomes a spaghetti. Like if you just leave human beings to like, even if they start organized with something, if you let them work on a project long enough, it will just become a mess. Like there's just an entropy about it, you know?
Yeah, another like cool marvel of like technology, quote unquote, is look up the El Paso Spaghetti Bowl if you have a moment. This is like a highway system that
oh no, I've seen it before. I've seen this shit before. Yeah,
a disastrous mess. And I've driven on it. It is as much of a pain in the ass to drive on as you would think. It was really funny because at the time I was driving around my friend who lives in El Paso. Or our friend who did live in El Paso. And he he pointed out that like, yeah, this is the spaghetti bowl. It gets kind of complex up here, so just make sure you stay in the right lane. And I was in the left lane of apparently what I thought was an on-ramp that I thought was just a 2-lane highway. So I went to pass this big rig on his left and then get back into the right lane because I saw that it was splitting off right and I needed to go right. And I just completely disallowed the fucking semi-truck from going left, which is where he needed to go. And our friend just had to like look at me and just go like, dude, you just fucked over that guy's day. You just gave him like a 10-minute detour. And I was like, fuck. Damn! And there's nothing I can do about it because this infrastructure is just a
you're
mess.
on the road. You're gone. You're past. There's nothing you could say to him. There's nothing you could do. It's ridiculous.
It's so funny.
But speaking of it, Jesus Christ, what a thing to bring up while we're talking about like gluttonous uses of unnecessary wastes of space. Let's talk about the American highway system. Yeah, that's an awesome transition. Thanks for pulling that one. Like I don't know. The thing about the add another lane thing is that it will work eventually, you know?
technically,
It's
yeah,
fucking, it's such
but,
a
like,
stupid shitball solution, because yeah, you're right, adding a new lane will eventually be, like, eventually you will find the like, right amount of lanes that solve this problem. But what if you were just more efficient with the lanes you had, you know?
yeah, what if you built a highway system that functioned?
But,
I don't
like, the
know.
answer to that is, dude, we spent billions laying concrete in this country, or laying asphalt in this country for that. And it would cost
Yeah, I
even
guess
more
we're
to
gonna
rip it
spend
out and
more.
redo it, you know? Like, in its
Yeah,
entirety to make it make sense. It's in a pretty good spot, considering, you know? Like, I think that the
yeah,
highway system is okay, considering the fact that it's been around for so long, and what we talked about earlier with, like human beings and projects, and how they will eventually, like, rot themselves into messes, you know?
yeah. And eventually just inevitably have to be torn down. I think that's such a funny thing. I think that's my favorite part of entropy, is that entropy will just, like, happen. It's an inevitability, and no matter how a thing is treated, there is going to come a date where it just chooses to not work anymore.
Yeah. Do you know what I was thinking
Um,
about? You know what I was thinking about the other
what were
day?
you thinking about?
I was thinking about the 1999, like, hell yeah, it's 2000. Let's pack a bunch of shit from the 90s into a time capsule, and then, like, we'll open it in 3000 so that people could see what it was like at the time. Because we were talking about chia pets, and they put a chia pet into one of those, and I was thinking about, like, do you think by 3000 there will be anything left of that fucking clay pot chia pet? And I
I don't
thought
know.
about
It
it, and I
depends
was like,
on.
the cardboard and the packaging will rot by then for sure, no matter the conditions. There's no way that lasts at the very least, it will hold its shape long enough for somebody to pick it up, and then it will disintegrate in their hands. You know?
Yeah, I
But
mean,
like
if
the
it's
chia pet
vacuum
itself,
sealed, maybe.
the chia pet itself is like it's clay, you know, and the seeds are seeds. So those will live, like those will like persist, so it will be a functional thing. But they also put a Beanie Baby in there. Beanie Babies are barely surviving under good condition today. Like, they're
Yeah.
barely not rotting away in, like, 60-degree temperature-controlled collectors' homes, you know? Much
Yeah,
less
dude, collectors
in, like, a
would kill me.
non-heat-controlled fucking box. That shit is going... Oh, collectors would absolutely kill you for having your, like, blue Coca-Cola
Dude,
bear in your car, dude.
he's
Like, as, like, a
he's a
driving
Ford
buddy.
bear. Actually,
Or,
those of
not
you in
blue
the audience,
Coca-Cola,
look
blue Ford
above
bear, yeah.
my
Over
left
his,
shoulder on
over the
that
left
shelf
side of
there.
left side of his shelf, yeah. There it is, there's the bear.
Yeah,
The same bear
that's
that
the
Jed
bear.
has
He
in his
normally
car.
has a Ford
Or his
logo.
truck.
Yeah, my grandpa used to have him sitting in his like truck where I have mine sitting in my Ford truck. So like I was just like, yeah, this thing's good. But it's also been sitting in the Arizona sun in a
Well,
fucking like it looks good for sitting in the Arizona sun. Don't get me wrong, but
because like entropy is such like a downpull, but it's like on the same note to me. Things like that, it makes me feel better about stuff like that, where it's like I put this thing in my car on my dash because I like it there. Like, regardless of any other reason, it brings me joy to have it. And have it in my car and see it and occasionally pick it up, you know? That's enough for me. Even if it does rot in the sun, even if it is fading, even if it is not like it was, like, when it was new, you know? And even if collectors would be mad. Things are meant to be loved, dude. Objects are meant to be used.
that's how I feel about it.
And so it's
Yeah,
just like,
like
in some cases where it's like, this is a one of one. Yeah, put that shit in a museum if you can.
Oh, yeah.
If it, like, absolutely. But if it's a Ford bear that they made fucking 3,000 of or more,
Exactly.
who cares?
Yeah.
Somebody out there gave a shit enough to vacuum seal one when they came out and keep it, dude. There will
Yeah,
be one of those
exactly.
at least. Like, because it was like a Beanie Baby, first of all, and those were like so, like, in the 90s, such like an appreciating value thing, apparently. Or like a supposedly going to appreciate thing that people got them and hid them away. So it's like, I'm sure there's enough of them. Fuck this particular Beanie Baby bear. He can be yours, you know? Like, you
Yeah,
just don't
and
have
that's
to
how I
have any
feel
guilt
about it.
whatsoever about it.
Because I get significantly more enjoyment out of having him sitting in my truck than I ever would having him sitting in a vacuum sealed bag on like a fucking UV controlled box, you know? It just seems like people are too afraid to enjoy the things they have nowadays. Like my guitar. another thing that is an important item to me enough that I wanted to put it on the wall of the set. I just sanded off the entire original coat of lacquer on the front and back of it because it had some scratches, and it looks worse. But I'm the one who redid the lacquer on it, and like I kind of like it that way. In fact, I'm adding like an aftermarket pick guard from some other Gibson guitar that doesn't even match my guitar. But fuck it, I like the way that it'll look, and it will be a unique guitar to specifically me. And I'm starting to like that more and more. I like having things just especially for you.
Yeah, I've been watching a lot of Ben 10 lately, and there's a weird point in there about that. I hate to relate it to the current fixation. But like, they make a whole point of that about the Rust Bucket, the RV in the show, being like, this is a 1973 Winnebago, dude. This thing is a bucket of bolts. It's a real piece of shit. It will break down on you every 5 minutes. But I love it, and it's mine, and I will never let it go. And so, like, you've got this guy with, like, his, like, insanely high-tech alien hunting equipment that he's decided to implement into this 1973 Winnebago that can barely make it down the fucking road for the sake of, like, I like it, and it's mine, and I want it, you know? And, fuck it. You know what? It's good to hold on to things. It's good to hold on to things and repair them yourself and keep them and have sentiment. You know, sentiment and entropy can exist together in complement and in contrast, I believe, is where I'm going with that point.
Yeah. It's like, that's where you get items like Willie Nelson's guitar, which is something that you could nobody could recreate. That's a unique form of art in the way that could only happen because Willie Nelson plays the guitar in a very particular way that scrapes his nails the fuck against his guitar. Like, he just destroys that thing. And it is uniquely his. And it's really amazing. I had a similar moment today where it was like, I've lived in this house that I'm in for now 10 years. And every time I go down the stairs, there's like an actual handrail that follows like the downward slope of the stairs. And then there's a banister because it's kind of an open loft area. And there's a part on the banister by the stairs where it's higher than the other handrail. And I put my hand there, and then I put my hand on the other handrail, and sometimes I'll like
and you may
use my upper body strength to like lower myself onto the landing of the stairs. And now it's got a very uniquely Jed-shaped handprint on it, not even in the lacquer or as like a dent, but just it is a different color. And I think that is genuinely one of my favorite things. I got really into it after watching some TikTok videos of like what are those called?
Desire
paths. I think
that's where I was gonna go next. That's where I was gonna go next was desire paths of just like when like it's like the lighter marks on a bronze statue or some shit where it's like, you know, you can tell people have been there and you can tell people enjoyed it. You know, you can tell people got something out of the space or the thing that you're currently experiencing as well. You know, and in the case of your own home, you can tell that you lived there, and thus it makes it feel a little bit more like yours, you know? And I feel like Willie Nelson's guitar is like a prime fucking example, by the way. I think that's like the like single because he like, again, like there's like a proclivity about him as a person and the way he plays that makes that special, you know? And the fucking thing's got a hole in it to show for it. So it's like, you know, it's a really cool piece to look at.
To give it up.
No. I mean, would you, if you had the ability to keep the guitar you have right now, and you got famous playing that guitar, and everybody knows that is your guitar, and you've stuck with it for a decade now, or more, like, at what point, because, like, I know it's more than a decade, I'm trying to, like, shorten this down for you as, like, even at, like, the decade mark, it's like, dude, you can't get rid of that, you have to just keep that. At least to me, I would feel too attached to it to not just keep piecemeal repairing it Ship of Theseus style. And just fucking, like,
and
making it as good as I can while keeping it being that goddamned guitar, you know?
Yeah,
you form an attachment, a partnership, a kinship, even.
He refuses to have that hole filled in because, of course, now that guitar uniquely sounds like Willie
because
Nelson's
of the
guitar
hole,
too, because the resonance, and it's
well, that changes the whole acoustics of it,
Uniqueness in things has been something that I've grown to like very enjoy over the past few weeks of like humans are so unique for the point of like, take a moment. We're recording a podcast to send via like fucking signals to some other person across the world, to everybody across the world, even as a like photo, a digitally created photo of a possum and a robot. And it's like, how the fuck did we get here from banging rocks together, dude? In like ultimately not that long of time. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's a really nice place to like think about. It's a nice mind game to do with yourself. To just consider where we would be compared to where we were. And it gets better. Life just gets better, it feels like. So
Yeah, I'm on a real
things have been
upswing
good.
with things too. I felt good about things. I'm in a good mood. I've been pretty good lately. I feel like we're coming into summer proper, and we're getting those. We're like, I've never gotten that. Like, yeah, it's summer. I'm so happy, you know, like everybody else gets. But like lately, I'm starting to. I'm starting to.
I'm getting it a little bit. Yeah.
You know, I'm getting it. I don't think that's the whole reason, but I think that's like part of it for me. And speaking of things that we intend to hang on to for a while, and things that we intend to get a lot of use out of until they inevitably shit out on us. We got new controllers recently, the two of us. I bought the 8-bit Do Ultimate with the new like Hall effect triggers and fucking and sticks and shit, so they won't drift. It's good to have a drift-proof controller, supposedly. It's good to have a controller that will never, ever, ever do that to me, no matter what. Like, that will not be the failure point on this controller. It's comfortable. It's nice. Because before this controller, I have 2 PS4 DualShocks and a couple of Nintendo, like, Pro controllers that are third-party for the Switch that are kind of garbage, but, like, I don't play a lot of games with controller. So when one comes along, I have to just dig in the drawer and see which one of my 5 controllers I can get to simply, like, function. Because all of them are on their last legs. And so we were just in a Best Buy for different shit the other day, and I was like, you know what, fuck it. Today's the day I buckle. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm buying a new controller. I'm dropping the like $40, $50. I'm getting a nice new controller with some like solid features and shit that'll last me a while, that can just be my controller, so that I don't have to do, because I know this will last a while. Like, it's of quality enough that I can tell it's not gonna like crap out on me in a year. And so like I just have my controller for the foreseeable right now.
Yeah. And that's the really cool thing, is that we've actually gotten like a really wide view on the Pro controller environment currently, because you got one of the like most like bang for your buck Pro controller that's out there, like with still back paddles and all of the standard.
This has like everything your controller has on it, minus the haptic triggers, I'm pretty sure. Like, that's like the one thing. That and a speaker. I'm short a speaker, too.
Yeah, I've got some weird things, just because I went the opposite direction, and I have been looking at the DualSense Edge since it came out, and going, oh my god, $200? Are you fucking serious? I'm not paying $200 for a white Pro controller. And then they released the Midnight Black version, and then they put it on sale, so I got it for $160 instead. And that controller is very nice. It's got some really weird features, because the way that my controller deals with stick drift is, instead of replacing the wiper based system inside of the stick for the magnetic based system that has already been proven to be better, they just decided, what if we just make it so that the stick modules are hot swappable now? And it's pretty cool. That's a pretty cool fucking feature, to be honest. It definitely feels like a more dystopian way of solving a solution instead of just fucking fixing it. But yes, that is that solution.
my only problem with that is the aftermarket concern of like, you buy one. How long till Sony stops selling those replacement parts, and how long until your shit's out? Because I'm almost certain that like this is going to last. Again, like we said, like my controller and your controller, I feel like we're both in places where like these controllers are gonna last, you know? And if they last 5 or 6 years and we're still using them in 5 or 6, then like, will Sony still be releasing DualSense Edge fucking replacement sticks at that time? Or are we just gonna have to scrounge one down, or just buy a new controller? Because in that case, the swappable sticks mean fuck all, you know?
Yeah, because like for me,
So that's my
come
concern.
into stick drift like fairly often. So having the ability to swap out the sticks was one of the main reasons why I wanted it. Especially because I've had that on a DualSense. So far, I've had 3 DualSense controllers. I picked up a purple one when I first decided to try that out the DualSense. That one worked great, and then it suddenly did it and got stick drift. And then I got a black one, and I think it had like a power failure in it. It like shorted. And then I was like, fuck it, I'm done with DualSense. I'm just going to use whatever controller I have on hand. And then I bought a PS5. And then I've been using this white one for like 2.5 years. So, and this one actually holds up. The one that came with the console holds up the best. And it's really nice having a pro controller, especially now because we've got really good ends of the market where you've got, honestly, after some of the research I've did, you've got one of the better
if you
pro
look into this, I think this might be genuinely like, if like dollars to donuts, this might be the best thing you can get right now. Because it's only like $50. It comes with a little charging stand. It's got Hall effect triggers and switches and shit. So it's not gonna drift on you. All the buttons feel really nice. It's very grippy at the back. Got a couple of back paddles. You know, it's got like 2.4 gigahertz if you want to use that, or Bluetooth, or wired. Those are all options. And so, like, you know, and it's just real nice. It's a really nice controller. Everything about it feels nice. The triggers are analog, so that's good. That's, like, a necessity for me at this point with the amount of, like, every year I play a GameCube game. And typically it's like, again, I'm just gonna play Mario Sunshine again, and the GameCube's, like, analog triggers are, like, necessity for that, which, by the way, why haven't they brought that back in analog triggers? I guess they have with the DualSense, but why isn't, like, the GameCube sync until you stop syncing and then click? Like, why isn't that how those work all the time? Because that is the most satisfying fucking thing in the world. Where it's like, these just go all the way down and E. Well, I just want that, like, I wanted, like, a chunky bottom out is what I want. Is, like, I want it to, like,
bottom out,
ease and then bottom out, and then if I give it a little more force, it'll push in and go a little bit further. That's what I want. Yeah. Because that's what you get out of the GameCube, and those count as 2 different inputs, a hard input and a soft input. And that's really good.
Actually, for the first 2 years of me using my DualSense controller, I had it set to my, like, preset that is replicating a fucking GameCube trigger. Just because that, like, slow trigger and then bottom out works pretty well for a lot of things. The only thing it's not good for is, like, racing games. But actually, it seems like that's what GTA has gone with their adaptive triggers, because they finally added adaptive trigger support to GTA with the Enhanced Edition. And
well, because, like, again, once it bottoms out, honestly, it bottoms out. You know, that's the thing, is that, like, once it bottoms out, and, like, but, like, either way, if you have it in the GameCube style, at least when it bottoms out, you can click it and get just that much more out of it. And it's just a very satisfying action, I find. And it's good knowledge when you have analog triggers of just, like, I don't know how much grip force I'm putting in this thing moment to moment, other than, like, what the game is giving me feedback-wise. And, like, the difference between going, like, however many miles per hour, like, 10 off one way or the other because I'm not quite gripping the trigger as hard bothers me. Like, that bothers me when I'm not doing it on purpose, and so I just haven't quite gotten the feel for, like, complete analog triggers that are analog all the way down. And so, like, I still need some adapting time for that.
Yeah, with GTA, though, the way that they've done their adaptive triggers is kind of interesting for vehicles, because, like, the first 80% is just standard trigger. It feels like a typical trigger, and then it pretty much feels like it stops early, and then you could push it a little bit more, and it gives you the feeling of, like, flooring it on a car, where you're just pushing the gas pedal a little bit further than it really should go. And that was actually really weird, because I'm used to when racing games do it, they like rumble back on the trigger, and I'm sad that they didn't do it for the GTA cars, but it does actually add a little bit when you, like, get into a car and you, like, really fucking floor it.
Because the noises in that game are also really attuned to fucking flooring it suddenly. And so, like, there's a very satisfying, no matter what car you're in, of just like, okay, we're fucking going now. We are going now.
Yeah.
You know, and in a lot of cases, the controller will start to fucking rumble too, depending on how quick you're driving and what vehicle you're in, you know?
Mm-hmm.
and like what
Yeah.
surface
Oh,
you're
man.
driving on too. Oh, that's really fun until it's not with GTA. Of just like, dude, my hands are asleep. I've been doing an off-road thing here. My fucking hands are going to sleep.
My hands are fucking numb, dude. Quit it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess you could turn it
GTA's
off
been
or
good.
down if it ends up bothering me that much. But like GTA has been good. We've been playing a lot of GTA Online. Well, not a lot, but we've been playing a good amount of fuckabouts for GTA Online. So we've been doing like racing missions and like arena war and fucking like drug running and shit like that. Just nothing huge.
Yeah.
Chasing down cash trucks.
It's been a good time though. Cause like yeah, that was funny. We tried to play GTA Online a while ago, and we were doing it the way that I enjoy GTA Online, which is just like it's a lot of grinding, which also entails a lot of loading screens. And so like that was not oh shit, excuse me. That was not the vibe for Vox at the time. And so we like moved on from GTA Online, and we ended up coming back to it as just like yeah, we'll
you
fuck
guys
around.
never explained that to me either, by the way. I'd like to full stop you and explain that you guys just went, no, this is just what GTA Online is. And it's like, oh, we're grinding. Like, now I understand. Now that I've played more casually, I go, yeah, no, they dropped me into the RuneScape-esque click the button 50 goddamn times, do this race mission. Okay, we can do one race, and then we have to go back to doing the heist, where we get shot by the same guy 90 times. And like have to redrive the same section of the map and then do a 10-minute loading screen, then redrive the same section of the map, then do a 10-minute loading screen. And I was bitching about that. Honestly, I'm gonna say this live on the show, fuck you and everybody else in that call for giving me so much shit for being so mad about it. Because like that genuinely is an insufferable way to play that video game. You're literally leaning back, not doing anything more than you're doing anything. And when you're doing something, it's usually something you've done 8 or 9 times already. You know? At least the way we play it, we get a good, like, variety of shit in now. You know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you're having as much fun, but I'm definitely having leaps and bounds more fun with it this way. Of just like, yeah, we'll take a heist when we feel up to it, but otherwise, we'll just fuck around and earn some money otherwise. Like doing the bunker shit.
Yeah, I don't know. It's because I've got such like a fucked up view on video games. In like, sometimes I'll get a video game and it's like, I want to max this out.
No, because sometimes it is a max out time with a game, but like GTA is just, it will never be that game for me because GTA is way too fuck around coded, you know, for me to want to get that into it. Like, I bought a car and I don't want to wreck the car because I don't want to spend the $200 or $400 it'll cost to repair it. So I don't even want to drive the fucking thing. What the fuck am I gonna do when I get done grinding and have 10 of them and like still won't do it? You know, still won't drive them around because I like fucking don't want to wreck the car and repair it. You know? Even though it's piss easy to do that. I don't know.
Yeah. I have been having, like, a really fun time just fucking around. Because, like, last play session, what we've ended up doing and kind of settling on is we seem to really enjoy the bunker missions. Yeah, we really enjoy the bunker missions. So what we'll do is we'll stock up my bunker, we'll get the supplies, we'll steal supplies, and that's normally a fun mission. It's like
usually like because the bunker stuff is like do a big explosive thing where you're like fighting guys and stealing shit and running around
and then get a helicopter and hack it. And then go steal it, you know?
And then go steal some shit and then go back. And like shit explodes, people get killed, like action happens, and it's a big like kick the door in way to start our GTA. And then when we're done with that, that like idly earns us money in the background.
Supplies,
you know, and then we can go and do our fuck arounds and not feel bad about it. And so we get a couple of race missions in, we get a couple of that in, and we get a couple of this, we get a couple of that, and then we drive around a while, see if we can find something organically. And then by then it's been an hour or two, and we're like, all right, fuck it, GTA Online's I've just about GTA Online, I feel. And then we move on. It's like a good digestible way to enjoy it, especially now with the enhanced edition and like having a PC with a better with better load times means that like I'm only like the load screens aren't 10 minutes, they're 1, you know?
Yeah. Like it's a manageable level of like horse shit.
Which also I'd like to say double fuck you guys, because that shit was miserable for me, especially because my loading screens were 10 times longer. Does it hold everybody else while I'm loading too?
Yeah.
Okay, then I retract my double fuck, but fuck you guys still.
Yeah.
Oh man. But we've been playing a good bit of GTA, but usually when we get done with GTA, recently, as of like last night, okay. So last night we took some edibles. We had a night. We had ourselves an evening, as we are wont to do occasionally. And tonight we went and we did crack. And by that I mean we decided to play Fortnite while just high out of our minds. Like I don't feel like I was like beyond gone, but like I was like good enough that like everything was a good time in that game. Like there wasn't a single thing. Like we did a little bit of festival, we got a couple victory royales,
we did
and
a
then
lot
we
of
moved
festival.
on. We did a good bit of festival. We did like 3 sets of festival with 3 of us, and so it's 3 songs each. 3 sets of 3 with the 3 of us, and it was a good time. It was a great time actually. We were jamming the fuck out.
It was a
we
really
were playing
good time.
to the point where we're genuinely considering getting like into Guitar Hero as a group. Because that was really like, fun on its own.
Can we talk about the plan that we had concocted?
We can talk about like the bullshit spitball plan we were talking about last night. Sure, we can talk about that.
So,
go ahead.
So prior to the move, we were already talking about getting into like forming a little band of our own, because I'm a guitar player, I'm a bass player, quote unquote technically a drums player. I know a lot about instruments, and I own all of the instruments needed to make a band. So I was like, fuck it, Vox, if you're interested in drums, you do drums, Basil will do bass, and I'll do guitar, and then we'll like trade off on vocals occasionally, you know? And then we started playing this game, and it kind of reignited that spark inside of me of like, we all really enjoy music. We all get into like doing shit with music. Playing music is going to be great.
Oh yeah.
And I had this moment where I was like, oh shit, we could just like do Guitar Hero. Like we could just get Guitar Hero controllers and get into Guitar Hero. And then Vox, do you want to explain the thing that you told me about last night about your fucking Walmart?
I was explaining to Jed, because Jed was like, we should just pick up some, because we were talking about it. I think I was the one who suggested we should pick up controllers, and then like we escalated to like, well, what if we just got Guitar Hero or like Clone Hero and played that instead?
Yeah.
And it was just like in tandem with Fortnite Festival, we get some instruments, we have a time, and then we were talking about the new Guitar Hero controllers they were releasing specifically for Fortnite Festival. That connect to PC, and I'm not sure if they work for Clone Hero just yet, but I'm sure they will, you know, at some stage, because there's no way they don't do that with like the only like guitar readily on the market. But like we were talking about it, and I was like, man, my local Walmart has had like a Beatles Rock Band drum set just sitting out on the floor, like on a shelf, collecting dust since that shit released. Like genuinely, it's just sitting there. It used to be like, you know, because they would have the big like Rock Band or like the big Guitar Hero displays out when those games would release, and it's just one of those boxes from one of those displays, and now it's just like sat in a corner over by where the Funko Pops are, like shoved back, and it's like still purchasable, still at retail price, I would presume. I've never looked at it really to look at the price tag, because why the fuck would I want to buy Beatles Rock Band bad enough to like buy that, you know? But it's just like, holy shit, that would be an insanely easy way to get a fucking like Rock Band drum kit to use for this like bullshit, you know, if it's operable. And then we would have like, I think it is the one for the Wii. It might be the one for the PS3 though, like the 360, but like I don't know if they put Beatles Rock Band out on all platforms or not, but like it's definitely the Beatles Rock Band one.
That's fucking funny. That's really fucking funny. I have no clue. I had no clue that they would even still like keep those around.
No, haven't you seen those pictures of like insane. PS2 games at people's Walmarts? They just don't give a fuck.
No,
they'll just throw them in like the $5 bins and shit. Occasionally, they're a real hard find, crazy. Believe me. But like, I've seen all sorts of shit at a Walmart. Not even at just our Walmart, but just like in photos of just like, yeah, no, look what our local like there are plenty of stories just like that from all over the country of just like, yeah, ours has this or that like doesn't exist in Walmart anymore. Some Walmarts still have like their Subways and shit, even though they shouldn't, you know, or like their McDonald's built in.
My Walmart.
Do you know there are Walmarts with fucking McDonald's built in? Actually, no, I think that like contract for the like Subway closes in like a year is what it is. So like most of them are gone by now. But some of them are still around. I think ours is still around. It's just rarely ever open anymore. But, and like, fucking, I can't go to Subway, man. I can't ever go back to Subway. I used to eat
Why is
Subway all the
that?
time as a kid, and then like recently I was like, man, what if I just started like Subway is like, yeah, that's cheap, but what if I just go to an actual sandwich place again? It used to be expensive to like go and get like it used to be $5, $10 more to go and get like a nice foot long from like Firehouse or for like Larry or from like Larry's Giant Subs or some shit like that. But like you pull up to a Subway, they want $20 out of you anyway. So I was just like, you know what? I'm going to the local Firehouse. I'm pulling down there. I'm gonna go get myself a hook and ladder. I'm gonna have an evening. You know? No, I'm more of a meatball marinara kind of guy. But like, I went and I got my sandwich and I ate it and I was like, dude, what the fuck? This was almost cheaper. This was like within $1 of being Subway. And I get a pickle too? Fuck that. Like, and fresh ingredients too? That don't, like, bread that isn't FDA considered cake? Yeah. Yeah, I'll take that. You know?
Fuck yeah. Yeah. Jesus. Oh, man. Subway is just bad. Subway is just a bad sub place. Jersey Mike's, Jimmy John's, Firehouse
Jersey Mike's,
subs.
Jimmy John's, Firehouse.
Fuck, they're
those
all
are the trio.
better.
That's
Go
the Trinity.
anywhere but. Yeah. Like, Jersey Mike's has really, like, they have hot sandwiches. So if you're looking for, like, a decent Philly cheesesteak, it'll be fine. It won't be, like, holy shit, this is the best Philly cheesesteak. The best Philly cheesesteak I've ever had was on the East Coast, which, no shit, Sherlock.
Yeah,
like,
we make some good
Northeast
Philly
Coast
cheesesteaks over here.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of cheesesteak places. We've got a lot of cheesesteak places here because a lot of people migrate from up there to, like, Florida and Georgia and the Carolinas. Yeah. So, like, there's just, like, a slew of, like, Philly cheese. A good Philly cheese is not hard to find. You know?
Yeah, here it's harder to find. Like, the only place that I've been that was like, holy shit, this is a really good Philly cheesesteak was in Ohio. And that thing fucking banged, dude. I can't remember where it is, but it was somewhere in Shaker Heights. And like, Jersey Mike's has good bread, and Firehouse Subs does meatballs. And like, there you go. There you get everything that you could from Subway, from 3 different restaurants, sure. But they're much better. You can, like, get a sandwich from there if you want it.
Like, Firehouse Subs is just, like, their meats are really good, I find. That's why they're my choice, is just because their meats are usually pretty tender and nice. And so it's like, yeah, this is... And the bread is always, like, somewhat fresh. And they let you buy a fucking, like, bucket of pickles, dude. They let you buy a fucking 55-gallon pickle bucket, dude.
Yeah. Dude,
why the hell is that an option?
5-gallon.
Or not 55, 5-gallon. I was thinking about those 55-gallon drums full of pickles for a bit that I was going to do in a minute, and I tripped over myself hard enough to throw it out the window. So there you go. There's my
I don't think...
There's my old man falling down the stairs for this, like, year of the podcast, I think.
Yeah. I don't think that you actually can get them with, like, 5 gallons worth of pickles.
No, you just get the bucket.
However... You get the bucket, and the bucket smells like pickles.
Dude,
I can assure you, it smells like pickles.
I have such a story to tell. This is such a, like, a little baby story. Because when I was in elementary school, that we were having like a everybody brings something. We're making food in class, you know, as like a haha, like here's something for like interesting for the kids to learn about, like, culinary shit. And so I got assigned to bring a jar of pickles. And so I did, and I put a jar of pickles in my fucking book bag, and I throw it over my shoulder. I go to school, we get there, and, like, during homeroom, I see these guys, and they're like throwing their bags up and down and catching them. And I'm like, oh, that looks fun. Look, guys, I can do it too. Toss up, heavy-ass bag, comes falling down to the ground. Long story short, took forever to get the glass out of it. And my book bag just smelled like pickles for like a week or two till we could buy a new one. Because it genuinely was just like, oh, we can't, like, I just gotta keep using this, I guess. I had a good excuse for why I didn't have my homework that day, though.
For, like, senior pranks for my sister, somebody put, like, mayo and onions inside of her bag. And it ruined it forever. That bag that she had for like 4 years that I had like a matching version of, it was one of those maroon JanSport bags with like the 2 fucking... You know the one.
Yeah, I know what you're talking
Could you
about.
imagine that thing with a deep ass fucking onion smelling stain on the bottom of that? That bitch went out the door immediately.
Yeah, no, wouldn't it? But like again, if you want to ruin anything for anybody that like absorbs liquid, throw vinegar on it. Anything that's got vinegar in it, throw it on that fucking thing, and it will ruin it. It will single-handedly
actually.
Is it not the vinegar that does that? Because it's the vinegar smell. That's all I could smell. There's some fucking concoction in pickle juice. Then I don't know what it is.
Yeah, no, it's because there's salt and shit, so it actually allows it. But vinegar actually takes.
Okay, so vinegar on its own, right? Oh no, because people wash their clothes with it and shit. Actually,
yeah, vinegar actually attacks like smelling particles and literally just like burns them up with their acidity, and then it leaves without a smell. Like, after a while, white vinegar smell just goes away. You actually have to use the proper vinegar, though. So, like, pickle juice isn't going to clean shit.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to cover my...
smell like pickles.
Like, I don't judge anybody who cleans their home that way. However, I'm not covering my home in vinegar. You cook with that. That is a cooking... that sounds exactly like just rubbing everything I own in olive oil and calling it clean to me. That's what that sounds like, where it's like, no, dude, use a cleaning chemical. Use soap.
That's
for
funny.
Christ's sake.
Yeah.
It doesn't even have to be like a hard chemical. Just use soap for Christ's sake. If I take a shower in your home and lean against the back wall of your shower and notice that it's been cleaned with vinegar, ugh.
You couldn't notice is the thing. That's
could.
The best part about vinegar. No, I couldn't. I think I will like put down a test for you even.
You can if I cleaned a tub, if I cleaned a tub the way I clean a tub, and you cleaned a tub the way you clean a tub, I would be able to notice. There is a massive difference between the way I like my bathroom cleaned and you like your bathroom cleaned. Not that you're unclean, but it's just like I bleach. I go way overboard, and like I bleach everything on like a weekly. You know, it's all perfectly pearly white.
It's insane to me,
and it's perfectly sterile and sanitized, and nothing will happen. Well, because don't you want your like shower to be the cleanest place in your home possible? So why not just nuke it? You know, like there's no harm in just nuking it.
I just don't like using bleach. I really.
Oh, me neither.
Like,
I despise it. It smells really bad, and it makes me like
shit.
It makes me break out in hives. But like, I don't care. I'll take that over fucking like I'll be like itchy for a day or two like my hands will have like hives on them for a day or two over like fucking no dude I'm not. I would rather it just be
gloves.
Yes,
wait, are you not wearing gloves?
I'm wearing gloves, but like I mean up on my arm and shit. Like the fumes from it are enough to like hive me a little. You know?
Holy shit! I just had this moment where I just envisioned you cleaning with bleach without gloves.
I haven't been bleaching my hands. I did last time.
Yeah,
I cleaned
I don't know
without gloves last time because we were out of gloves and it needed to be done. So I just kind of like did it and like every 5 minutes I had to wash my hands and like or not wash them but like flush them to make sure that they were like okay, all right.
Good.
Go again. Like, and then I, like, cleaned them thoroughly after. Like, but that's the one time I've ever done that, I think. Just because otherwise you're going to ruin your fucking hands, dude. You're going to bleach your skin.
I thought you were portraying to me that, like, I clean the tub with bleach, and, you know, it does hurt my hands. I break out in hives. Like, my hands are like, bright red after using it, but at least it's clean. And I was like, dude, are you burning your skin off? Holy shit. Thankfully not.
No. I just have. I only know about it because my aunt has like the same thing. Weirdly enough, where it's like, we just break out really bad with like bleach fumes. Like that is enough to like just fucking like flare our skin a little bit. And I don't know what it is. Maybe it's some genetic thing. Maybe we just use too much goddamn bleach. Who's to say? Because being in a bathroom full of bleach fumes for like an hour, even with like the exhaust fan on and the door open, is still like. You gotta step away every 10-20 minutes and not feel lightheaded. You know, at least for me.
Yeah.
And then you give it like 20 and it's the cleanest, most sterile place in the universe for like a few days. And then it starts to deteriorate. And then in a week or two it needs it again.
Yeah. Oh man, that's fucking insane to me. I forgot that like, I assume your aunt is the one who, like, got you into cleaning like that.
Yeah.
She's pretty,
because
like...
she's the one who raised me. Yeah. So she got me into cleaning. And she's pretty much a neat freak about everything. And it's like...
Yeah.
Like, and the thing about it is, like, I will gladly let it sit for those 2 weeks, maybe even 3 before I get to it, and that is why I bleach it every time. Is because like I don't want to sit. I don't want to put my face near a toilet bowl every week to clean it. I would rather just let it look a little dingy for the final week before I clean it, and then have it look spotless the next day, and then be spotless for the next 2 weeks. You know, and then once it starts to show again, like noticeably look dirtier, it's like, okay, clean that shit up. Not like noticeably dirtier, like it's covered in like grime and shit, but like, you know, if it's like, ooh, there's like a little stain on the side of the toilet bowl that's been there for like a week. Probably should do that. And then I'll do that, you know? And then I'll just cover it all and it'll be done. And then it'll like, and then it won't be needed till like next month. You know? And so it's a solution of like, I'm sure if you did vinegar every week, it would be equally as clean. But I just do bleach like once or twice a month instead. That's just like my preferred cleaning cycle for bathrooms.
That sounds hella harsh for me. Like I'm
Maybe
very much
it is.
so.
Let us know in the comments who's like off on this, because I genuinely can't tell which of us is the deranged one here. I don't know.
I genuinely think that we're both a little bit. I think we're both like on different deranged.
Like. I think we're both like just off the normal acceptable range of cleaning supplies. Like you're like a little too far.
I was raised on like
and I'm a little
nature's
too far this
own like like fucking could drink it technically, or like if the dogs lick it, it will be fine sort of thing. And you're in like I guess you fucking chemical
in
warfare
like a household full of like animals too, where it's like I always had like an animal like around, but children. Like. But it's just like, and small children were around, but like you shut and you lock the like, I mean, I guess it is pretty harsh if I'm cleaning the bathroom to such a degree that like you need it to be locked to fumigate for like an hour, to ensure that like the kids or the pets don't wander in there and like fucking get bleach on them. But like, I mean, if you rinse everything, they're not gonna get bleach on them. But like, fucking bleach fumes are nasty, dude.
Bleach fumes,
harsh chemicals like
and they take a while,
resonate a while. Yeah, it needs a minute to sit. And so like. That's the thing. That's the thing. It's just like maybe it is a little harsh, but that's just the way I do things. And like, I don't know. But now do you see why I'm so tricky about like I don't know if I want to eat at your house ever, like anybody's house.
My house? Oh,
because I bleach everything. Like that goes for my cookware too. Yeah, it gets cleaned as thoroughly as I can clean it. I don't like to bleach my cookware nearly as often, mind you, because. Potentially eating bleach and potentially sitting on a toilet bowl that might have been bleached a few hours ago are different things. Very different things.
Yeah.
Let's be clear. But like I do scrub the shit out of my dishes. Like that like pots, pans, all of that shit, I will sit there for like an hour. Genuinely. Just like with a fucking steel wool just at before like until it like has a finish on it. You know? And it's therapeutic almost to do it that way. It genuinely is. I don't know.
Yeah.
I like it quite a bit. Cleaning is a chore, but when it like strikes me, cleaning can be fun.
Yeah, we were just oh my god, wow. Hold on. We were just talking about like peak character design with us because we were talking about it because my voice over the past couple of months has finally settled in. Like I'm out of the like puberty stage, which I guess it took me a while because I'm fucking like almost 20 now. But like my voice isn't doing that thing where it feels a little bit uneasy anymore. And so when I get like angry or upset, my voice goes lower and more towards like a growl like this. And I get really fucking pissed about it. And I could go there, and you get a little bit higher and like scratchier. So it's like we talked about peak character design on that. But like I also was just looking at our characters. We're like almost inverted from each other.
Yang.
Like very perfectly
opposites, because balancing the screen.
Yeah, it's very, very funny to me, and I had that moment because it does extend into other things. Because then, like, we get like, I clean exclusively with bleach. I clean exclusively with non-toxic sprays. You know. Yeah. And it's just funny. It's a very funny like yin and yang dynamic. Because my mom had pointed out about your character.
Opposites attract.
That like,
I guess.
Yeah. She had like mentioned that like I don't know, it doesn't really look like you guys match as much anymore, and it was like, yeah, that's the point, honestly. Because like I think that's most of where we get our uniqueness is in like, or most of where we get our appeal is in our uniqueness and our differing perspectives but similar concepts.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Like, I think
Bleaching
we
the toilet
agree,
is,
like, we're pretty much the same guy at our core. We're just, like, we have a bunch of, like, factually, like, on a facts we believe in at our core level, I think we're about the same. We're about on equal footing.
Yeah.
But I think we're just, like, at completely opposite ends of, like, the spectrum for, like, a lot of other shit. And so it's, like, it's fun. It's good. It's a good amount of disagreement to have.
It makes it really nice. Yeah. And we were talking about this as well, about, like, Vox and Jed fight about it and how that's our brand. And we realized that we don't fight a lot on the show, but we bicker a lot. Because that's just how our relationship is, but we don't see it as fighting. So
that's the realization I've had. That's the realization I had last night, that Jed's stealing from me. But it was our realization, to be fair. Like, you chimed in and had some thoughts too after the fact. But what was I saying? Oh, right. It was my sentiment of just like, you know what? Because we had just like disagreed about something insanely minor, and we just fucking no, and you were like, yeah, and I was like, whatever. And then like we like moved on. Like, we had like a moment, and it's like neither of us were really right. We just disagreed and kind of like were on it for a second, and then we moved. And then I was like, wait a minute. Like, in that like moment of silence between topics, I was like, wait a minute. Maybe Fight About It is full of little arguments that we just don't notice because it's such a part of just how we negotiate a conversation as people, like, together, that, like, we just don't see it. Because, you know where I get that? Is not only that, but, like, earlier, like, in the day leading up, and, like, in the previous days, I've spent a lot of time in public with strangers and interacting with strangers, and I've noticed I come off more hostile than I expect in a lot of cases. Like, I'm a much meaner guy at my surface unintentionally than I expect to be to some people. Because it's like, we were having some family event, and I was meeting some extended family from my husband, and, one of these family members came over and went, oh, I'm so, hi, nice to meet you. I'm so-and-so's, like, great aunt. And I looked at her and I went, yeah, that tracks. That makes sense. And she goes, that makes sense, and walks off. And I go, like, as she's walking off, she goes, oh, that makes sense, and, like, smiles at me like I said something rude as, like, a joke, you know? And I was like, no, that genuinely just makes sense. That's what I meant by that, was, like, it makes sense that you are from that part of the family, and it makes sense that I wouldn't recognize you. But I'm pretty sure she took it as that makes sense because you're fucking old. Of course you're somebody's, like, great aunt, you know? And so, like, I realized that, like, fuck, maybe I need to, like, take more stock in that. But it's made me, like, really realize that we work so well as, like, a duo act, because we just understand where our heads are at enough, you know, and can catch each other enough on that kind of shit. Like, we're on the same wavelength enough, and we're, like, divorced from each other mentally enough that, like, when one of us says something that could be poorly interpreted, and probably is being, then the other one will chime in and go, he doesn't mean it like that. Jed, you might want to clarify, or Vox, you might want to clarify. Like, whoever's in fault here, and it's like, oh shit, you're right. Because you've caught me on that a few times, and I've caught you on that a few times. We can be a little jumpy on it.
And that's, like...
But, like, it's a good practice to have.
That's the best part, too, because typically I tend to be, like, overly considerate towards people. So, like, it really balances each other out quite a bit of just, like... It's very nice as a duo act. It's a good guy, bad cop, or good guy, bad cop. But wow,
good guy, bad cop. Don't make me a cop and not good you. Cop, don't put that shit on me. Yeah, I know.
Good cop cannot exist in my head, I guess.
Does not.
But yeah, I just have a good time with that. I'm trying to think about it. We talked about our Fortnite experience, but god damn. We kind of kicked ass in that game, and I think it's because Basil had never played before. So we rocked up with, like, I'm a decently high level, and you're, like,
I can play the game to a competent degree.
A couple times.
I don't get a lot of victory royales, but I don't play this game for more than, like, a month every year, so I don't mind.
Yeah.
I play well when I play at an expected level. No, I was good last night. Dude, I don't know what it is. I got so into a fucking flow. I didn't realize I'm good at shooters. I just need to calm the fuck down. So being high did something for me with a shooter, and you know what's going through my head every time I do something cool in a shooter or shoot for something cool is, I'm gonna fuck this up somehow. Let me think of all the ways I can fuck this up before I do it. And then I'm doing it, and then I fuck it up because I'm considering that I might fuck it up. I'm spending too much mental energy on the
Yeah.
idea that I might fuck up, that I'm not focusing enough on the thing. And so, High Brain didn't get that far into the thought process before he just did it. And so, like, I'm more competent than I know, and I've known that. It's just a matter of, like, kicking that, like, get the fuck, I can do it. You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was fucking
And then just help
crazy,
me
though,
kick
because,
that a
like,
little bit.
last night I was pinpoint accurate with fucking everything.
No, yeah, you were
I
aiming,
ended one of our matches. I had 13 kills in one of our matches out of the 20 that we had on the team. So we were all fucking it up
per match. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Like there were just kills to go around.
Mm-hmm. And it was honestly because we were playing with like actual fucking toddlers.
Yeah, we were match made for Basil, but
10 minutes.
Gameplay was good. Outside, like regardless of our opponents and how easy they were to take down, the gameplay itself was still pretty clutch.
Yeah.
Like we were still playing pretty well on our own, despite that. But you know, we got 2 wins, 2 pretty easy wins, and I'm hoping the matchmaking will level in again because we were playing with Basil, who had never played before, and so it was a whole like match made with actual babies, you know.
Yeah, it's funny that you like have to assume that they are actual fucking children in Fortnite because like for me I was like, no, these are for sure bots, but then I considered it. People just like hand their like actual 6-year-old a controller. I could like barely manage playing fucking Lego like a Star Wars then. Dude, how the fuck are they playing Fortnite? Like that's a lot of sensory information for me, and I've got a fully developed like brain at least. Well, maybe not fully developed, but like decently developed brain.
Maybe not fully
more
developed.
than a 6-year-old. Yeah, well, because I just considered I'm not 26, so I can't say like fully developed adult brain, but you know, still an adult brain nonetheless. Oh man.
No.
Speaking
of, oh, you've got a subject? Let's go. Let's go.
Well, I was just gonna bring up like, as like, I don't know what happened. Again, like my voice thing happened around the same time that I started like getting this mentality of just like, I can't be fucked to get angry about like littler things anymore. I'm pretty much just like, yeah, go with the flow about it, where it's like, oh fuck, your car broke down, dude. That sucks a lot. What are you gonna do about it? Like, I'm sure you're having a rough time with it. And oftentimes I respond with just like, that's fine, it happens. We're dealing with it. Nothing you can do about it. Like nothing that can be done about it, so there's no point in stressing. And I feel comfortable in that level of stress, especially because as like such a young kid, I had so much stress about everything that it's nice to actively look stress in the face and go, no, I don't wanna. No point. And that's nice. It's something that's been good. Grow out of.
Because I feel like I'm sort of on the same path with you in that like I just have a lot less I have a lot less care to give about being mad. And it's like, yeah, when it matters, I'm very mad. And I still have a propensity to get mad at stupid shit in like a little way. But like again, when something major happens like that, I really have trouble being mad. Like those are the cases where it's like this is nothing. This is like, dude, fuck it. The tire popped. There's literally nothing we could have done to avoid that. Oh well. Let's fucking other than dodge that nail we couldn't see. Let's just go get this tire fixed. We can be disgruntled about it, but like, I mean, let's go get the tire fixed, and it won't be a problem
mild
anymore.
inconvenience, but yeah, like,
it's a little more than a mild inconvenience when you don't have fix-it money, you know. But like, I would call like a $200 problem. I'd call any kind of car trouble like that. That is more than minor, but like, you know, beyond like, oh, we're out of gas. Well, let's walk. All right.
Because that's what I was thinking about most recently. Because that was one of the like, holy shit, most people would be stressed out. Is like you ran out of gas on the side of the highway. What the fuck? What the fuck can you do? You know, it happened, and now we move on. And it's a very healthy place to be, I think, especially for those situations. Because I only get that way in situations that I feel like I can handle, and more, I've had that about almost every situation. And it's nice to really feel like an adult now that can just handle his own shit. especially as a kid who is like fucking having to call his mom because he was like, I'll be honest, I had to call my mom because I was like scared to sleep over at people's houses. I was a very anxious kid. So like,
Yeah.
crazy
No,
shit.
I feel you. I mean, I'm on the same shit recently where it's just like, dude, you're an adult. You got it. It's fine.
Mhm.
And it's like it's so much easier cuz it's just like cuz like I'm finally at a point physically where people like see me as like some unplaceable 20-something adult, you know? Where it's like, okay.
Yeah.
So I just kind of get to exist as a guy in the world without somebody going, oh, who's this kid doing this? You know, who's this kid managing this shit by himself? And it's like, dude, I can just manage this shit by myself and it doesn't look like odd at all. And like isn't odd for me to do. So I'm just gonna do it. You know, in a lot of cases, like I'm going to just training wheels off, live my life. And I've been doing that and I've been having a good time with it.
That was something that was really funny. I walked into a dollar store the other day and I bought a lighter. And I bought a lighter and then 2 bags of candy. And yeah, she scans the 2 bags of candy, and then she scans the lighter, and it goes, and then she doesn't even glance at me, and she just presses like the yes, he's over 18, and then moves on. And that was the first time that I've ever like been of an age demographic that they didn't have to like even glance at me. Of just like, nah, this guy's an adult, move on.
Yeah.
And that's really crazy. That being 20 something, or you know, I guess I'm approaching 20 and you're 20 something, but like being in this era where it's like you just kind of get to be an adult now is really fucking weird. That transition is very bizarre. But
yeah, and it's a hard one to make. It's a hard one to make, you know. But I'm feeling good about where I'm at. I'm feeling good about where I'm at personally.
Me too.
With it, you know, and I feel like it's good.
You got any other things that you have feelings about, Vox? That you want to bring up today?
I have other things I've got feelings about, but the first thing I've got feelings about before I remove like the first topic off my topic list for the day, I would like to say that we haven't used a single fucking topic on my end. How many topics have we used from yours? Just out of curiosity.
3 technically, but like
that's insanely low for an episode.
Yeah,
so far
that's
we're doing
still really
good,
low.
Dude.
We're just shooting shit. Yeah.
Well, I've got something we could talk about that'll hopefully kick us into more shit shooting territory.
Sure, yeah.
Today we got the announcement that the Backrooms movie has set to begin filming this summer, starring Renate Reinsve and Chiwetel Ejiofor. That is how you pronounce that. I could have sworn that was incorrect. Mr. Ejiofor is. I loved him in fucking. He was in 12 Years a Slave. He's the guy from that movie. If you've seen that movie, I especially like the notable thing that I had seen him in. Other than that was what was it? Oh, it was The Martian. He's in The Martian as like one of the like NASA scientists. Like he's the like NASA scientist that's like, no, we're not leaving this fucking dipshit up there. We're gonna get him. You know, he's like the director. Yeah. He's like under the director guy, played by that dude from The Newsroom who like has like the comb over and shit. You know?
Yeah.
And so like I really loved him in that role, and I went because I was like, oh, Ejiofor is a name I recognize, but I don't know anything about this other actress. And I still don't know anything about that other actress, mind you. Just because she hasn't been in a whole ton that I've seen is all. But I'm sure she's lovely. She seems to have been in some pretty acclaimed stuff. So, and, but like looking at these two, I looked at the names and I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. When's it start filming? This summer? Awesome. So it'll be out in like a year. Cool. Or maybe out by Halloween if they really rush post. Like if they push post-production on this thing, like they could have it out as like a horror movie this year. But like I read the rest of the article and I came back and it's like, it's really cool that the Kane Pixels Backrooms movie is finally coming into production. I only really sat down and watched Kane Pixels Backrooms stuff just last year at about like in about October, actually. So if this movie comes out in about October, like end of October, start of November, that would be like ideal timing for me. But obviously it's some of the best out there. And like if you haven't seen it in full, you really haven't seen it. It's genuinely worth sitting through. Like it's like I know it's a series of like hour-long videos in sittings, but if you sit through them in order, even if you've seen it in clips, there is still a shitload of value to be had in the story they tell in those videos. And the movie's story is supposed to in it's going to tell part of that story. A part of that story you don't need the YouTube videos for necessarily, but it is going to tell part of the story. And I think that's a really interesting way to look at it. Because Kane has talked about this in the past in interviews about how he wants the movie to be a part of the overarching story with the YouTube videos. It will stand in canon alongside them. And then on top of that, he'll keep producing the YouTube stuff after. And he said that like Netflix has been on him about doing a series or something. And he said if that ever comes to light, that he wants to do that at telling its own story, or its own part of this story too, instead of just telling the same, oh no, we're trapped in the backroom story. We'll see like Async, the company that like made the backrooms in this, or like discovered the backrooms in this particular canon, you know, and we'll see like what's happening in the rest of the world, you know, and what's happening like in the backroom specifically. Like what is the larger thing here is probably what the movie is going to be. But he said the movie isn't going to be a retelling. It isn't going to be the point of the whole thing. It's not going to cap it. It is just going to be a part of the story like any other. He's treating it like if he got a movie budget to make one of the YouTube videos in this series is what it is.
That's crazy.
And because it's an A24 movie and they're known for being like artsy enough that like the casual viewer will know what they're getting into, he'll probably be allowed to do just that and have it not really make sense as a film and just be an insanely high budget backroom series video, you know? And so I'm hoping that's the case. Genuinely, part of me wants that to be the case. The other part of me wants it to be really good because I know that the people who aren't familiar with Kane's work specifically, like, and won't familiarize themselves with it ahead of time or do any research about what this movie is exactly going into it, are going to see it and hate it if that's the case. Like, the casual audiences, this is not for them in that case. Like, if that's what they're producing, it'll probably still be a great watch. It'll probably just be a little too artsy for them. But that's the case with almost every A24 film, so I don't really see it having that much of an impact. Anyway, you got thoughts?
I actually think what I'm going to do for this movie, then, is I'm going to intentionally not watch the Kane Pixels series, and I'm going to watch it after I watch the movie, because I do know about Kane Pixels, of course. I'm very well aware of what his backroom series is and what it entails, so I'm not going in this surprised, but I think it could be interesting to, like, watch the film and then come back around to the rest of it, especially if that's something that is not necessarily disallowed in this watching order, you know?
That is how these videos work. There is an intended, like, chronological order of, like, there's an order of upload, there's an order that they take place in based on clues and shit, and people have sorted them into playlists for that before. Because there's release order, there's that order, and then there's, like... So basically, chronological order just reshuffles the whole goddamn thing. And it's just... I've watched it both ways. It makes just as much sense going in blind both ways. So, like, you can watch each individual video in this series on its own and get, like, a unique story out of it. Some of them are 7 seconds. Some of them are upwards of, like, an hour and a half. You know? And it's crazy. It's insane, because each of them stand alone, and all of them help tell this greater story, and I'm glad we're not just dropping that spirit. Like, none of the executives at A24 are going to get in the way of, like, or intend to get in the way of that being the vision.
Yeah, apparently there's
So that's completely doable.
A series called Kaleidoscope on Netflix that is actually has, like, different intended watching orders. It's got Giancarlo Esposito, but like you can watch it in like detective story style, rainbow order, so like just fucking random, and you could just watch it in any order. There's Orange is the New Black, I guess. It makes sense in all these different orders. I guess that's what they're calling.
That's a method for
order.
Watching one of. Oh, okay. That's just a name of one of the. I thought you meant Orange is the New Black could be watched in any order, and I'm like, no, Jed, that's explicitly not the case in Orange is the New Black. That's a very linear story. Yeah. But what was I saying? What were you saying? Oh, you were talking about Netflix series you can watch in any order, like Love, Death, and Robots, fucking Black Mirror. Pretty much all of those can just be watched on, like, a shuffle and be fine, like, because they're anthologies.
But apparently...
Backrooms, Kane Pixels' Backrooms, specifically, is such, like... It's an anthology of its own specific world. So it is telling a linear story, but in an anthology format. And in a way that, like... in like an anthology found footage format, I think is the best. Like the reason that it makes sense to watch in any order the most is just because these are tapes that were found out of order and uploaded out of order anyway for the sake of telling the story. You know, and so like there isn't really a good order to watch them in. Like there are a couple good orders, but like there's no intended order really, other than just watch them. You know, hell, you like, you can watch 3 of them, you can watch all of them, you can watch 1 of them, you can watch none of them, and like those are all equally valid ways to watch this. You know?
Yeah, but oh, I see. Kaleidoscope, the reason that they call it the rainbow order is because each of the episodes are named red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet,
Roy
pink,
G.
white
Biv,
in that
dude.
order. Yeah,
No, not quite Roy G. Biv. Nearly.
Not quite Roy G. Biv. Close. But
they've got like gray and white and shit, so.
Yeah.
That does sound really neat. Maybe we should put that
them in whatever order.
We should put that on the watch list at some point. Decide on it. Maybe we should all watch that separately, choosing each one of the watch orders, me, you, and Basil, and then we should like all talk about the show together afterward.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I definitely would like to do that.
Because if there are 3 ways to watch it, and 3 of us, we should do that.
There are 4.
There are 4 ways to watch it.
Ooh,
so we could get a 4th person involved.
Is we could pick 3 and then, or we could pick our 3.
Oh, we could each pick one and then rewatch it all together in a different order. Yeah, that would be the way to do that.
We'll watch it in the usual suspects order in that case, then, because that one starts with all the spoilers at the beginning. So we'll save that one. Yeah, that'll be fun. That'll be really fun. But yeah, what an interesting concept for like a show and series. Sorry, that like
that sounds really neat.
Watch it in any order and it changes the story.
No, it's fine. This show is about tangents, and since we have like Basil now has their own setup, we can sit at our desks and separately watch the show, and that division of watchitude is possible now. Like that's another boon of them having a setup, which is something we haven't gotten to yet, by the way. The joys of, like, the amount of time we've lived with our new computers now and been able to just, like, really settle in with them.
Oh, yeah.
We haven't talked about that at all, and that's a subject for the episode for sure. I don't know if we want to go there now, or if we want to stick around here for a minute, because I don't know if you have more to say about... Oh, I have more to say about Kane Pixels anyway.
Go ahead,
about specifically, because I was looping around to a point of, like, I did all that research, I looked into the article... You know, and I double-checked a lot of the other stuff that I had heard before, mostly just so I'd be able to talk about it confidently on the show is the reason I did all that research right then, which, by the way, again, I have more time to research, so I had more shit ready for this. I wouldn't have had actors' names ready even if it were, like, last year. Then I looked back at the actors and was like, okay, well, let me look into the actors. Now that because I recognize one of these 2 names, so let me look into these actors. And I did, and I was like, man, these are some... actors, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I just got an Amber Alert. But like, these are some actors. It's for like 3 towns over, so nothing I can do.
That's crazy.
But like, these are some actors. These are some like real like Oscar winners. So like, this is going to be a well-acted film, even if it isn't like. I know Kane's writing well enough to know that it will be a well-written film, and now I know enough about the, like, 2 leads of the movie to know it'll be well-acted. And so now I just need to see what the effects look like, I need to see what the story is, I need to see the movie, basically. I have, like, every pre-seeing it assurance that it will be awesome, I just need to watch the thing. You know, I just need it to come out so that I know what I'm looking at here, you know?
Yeah. It's gonna be fucking crazy, honestly. That like Kane Pixels movie, because I think this is the first time that we've ever had a YouTuber specifically
Smosh
be like
more than that even. YouTuber movies produced by both of those. The Fred movie was produced by like Viacom. They're a major like movie producer, kinda. But like they're mostly in television.
This is a.
The Shane Dawson movie was produced by like Sony.
Feature film in the way that like this is not a gimmick that this is a YouTuber who did it. This is an A24 film that they found a YouTuber's content and enjoyed it. That's what I meant. This
is like one of the first times that like a prestigious group has gone, hey, Look at the little guy. He's really making some, especially somebody so young. He will be the youngest director A24 has ever had once he like steps on set for the first day. Because he's only like what,
which
20?
Is fucking insane.
He's like 19 or 20.
Yeah, he's like my age.
Which is insane because he's left such an impact already. And it's like, I mean, of course the Backrooms as a core idea weren't his, but to look at the series as a whole and say that Kane Pixels did nothing to make this movie happen and got the directing role just because he was the most popular series is wrong in its entirety. His work is the most popular for this simply because it is the best, and he's added plenty. He's done enough to add to the like lexicon of what the Backrooms are that I feel like, sure, you know, because like I feel like the default image of the Backrooms after, like, before the Kane Pixels stuff was like smilers and 50 levels of fucking ball pits and pools and shit and like ridiculous garbage with huge scary monsters chasing you every 5 minutes, you know? And then like before that it was literally just the Backrooms image in the post, and then it escalated into that shit that I was just talking about. And then in the midst of that, the Kane Pixels stuff started coming out that has some monsters in it, yeah. But if you'll notice, through most of it, the monsters are only really there in aid of, like, okay, our main character has decided in the Backrooms that they've found a room they like, and they're probably just gonna stay there for a bit and die, you know? And that would be end of story. So let's give them something to run from for a minute, you know? And it gives you just enough intrigue when you sit still. And, like, the monsters are just intriguing enough, too, that, like, they're not the focus at all. They're literally just a vehicle to get us from, like, area A to area B. And so it really, like, and I'd argue that today, when I think, at least, of the Backrooms, it's the Kane Pixels Backrooms sort of aesthetic I'm thinking of more than anything else, you know?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, for sure. 100%. Because, I mean, that's what got picked up. Like,
like, all those Backrooms games we play are based pretty much on that exact thing, wholeheartedly, like, unabashedly, like, yeah, this is, like, in the descriptions on Steam, they say Kane Pixels' name right there in it. So, like, of course, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, like, I think that the Backrooms thing, I think it got really oversaturated for a period of time, and now it's just become, like, a genre, and I really like it, because there's a lot of really interesting lore about it, too, where, like, the Backrooms itself kind of has a consciousness, apparently, in some people's, like, universes for it.
Yeah.
And that's the best part, is that the Backrooms a little bit different for everybody, where it's like, I've actually heard a lot about the Backrooms, like, changing to the person who enters them, where it's like, yeah, if there's a child that enters, it will be given the daycare room, where it has, yes, monsters, but those monsters take care of the kids, and they're kept healthy and fed. And if you're disabled, you're going to be given a monster that will chase you down at the speed that you can handle, and, like, things like that. And it's really bizarre, but I think that's an almost interesting concept of, like, this place...
They play with it like Skinamarink almost, where it's like, like that's what that sounds like to me, of just like, why are you giving the monsters just good enough for them? You're playing around. The complex is alive and it wants to toy with you, you know? And like that is an interesting idea. And then in some cases, that's not the case at all. And there's some other completely different reason. And it's just like, okay. Or you could be like Kane Pixels, where you make a 5-minute video on like, here's our research on what the fucking light fixtures in the Backrooms are.
Yeah.
The wires don't seemingly go anywhere beyond the light fixtures. Like, they go, but they just kind of go forever in a distance to nowhere. You know, to some power source far off. And we get into, like, how much electrical current do they put off? How far off could it possibly be coming from based on how much current it is? You know, this, that, and the other. And it's, like, really technical. And for some people... And there are still aspects of, like, beyond the science, there are still, like, it's very scientifically explained, but, like, all the stuff, if you don't know the answer, looks very traditionally just like, oh, fuck, monster in the Backrooms, you know? And so, like, it just looks like any other Backrooms. And so, like, if you get into this one, it's very, like, we're a research company looking into the Backrooms, and then there are also perspectives from people who fell in, you know? And then, so you're getting most of your information about it via a research company, or, like, via this, or via that, or, like, the one you were talking about, where it's, like, alive, and the complex lives, and that's how it functions.
Yeah.
And, like, they just straight up give you an answer for that. But Kane has kind of played around with the mystery of it to the point where we don't really know. Is it alive? Could it be? Maybe. No, like, we're so far into this thing, and yet we still don't know what this thing is. And I think that like, at its core, it's just the most recent, human version of a fear of the unknown. Like, that's just, like, that is the current symbol for a fear of the unknown, is liminal spaces and backrooms, is what it is. And I think that's great.
Exactly.
I think that's great, because you could trace that back, because, like, you could trace all this backroom stuff back and back and back from its influences all the way back to the post about it. And then, beyond that, if you consider this, like, fear of the unknown aspect, you could trace that bitch back to cavemen, dude. Like, to the point where it's like, I mean, like, it plays on such a core concept is why I feel like it can be so malleable and still the same thing, is mostly what I'm getting at there.
Yeah, especially because it takes that, like, inbuilt psychological fear that we can't quite find out why we have it. It's like the uncanny valley, but for spaces, where it's like, we don't know why humans evolved to be scared of, like, spaces like this. That's really bizarre. Let's lean into it. Let's make more spaces like this. And actually, have you ever entered a space in real life that you felt like was a liminal space?
I've been to some places that feel like you're in a liminal space image, and when you're there, it's like, it's very uneasy. It's a very uneasy kind of place to be in, and it's like, I don't know. I feel it, and it's like again, it does play on that, and that's something that's existed forever, of just like dark rooms and whatnot, and hallways and unfinished basements and backs of stores and up where the sign is at Walgreens, you know, just spaces like that. Where
Actually,
it's like, what the fuck is up? You know, you have a story?
I walked into a CVS before going to my therapist because I was like, I gotta go to the bathroom.
Dude, if there's anywhere, like, if the backrooms existed, CVS would be like a hotspot zone for fucking falling into that thing, dude. There's no goddamn way. CVS is full of spaces like that.
I went into the CVS, go to the back to the bathroom. I step into the bathroom, close the door behind me, turn on the lights, and look at it. The toilet is a foot away from the wall. Like 3/4 of the way to the right of the wall, not quite like close enough to the wall that, like, yes, that is a toilet tucked into a corner or even up against the wall. It's just like vaguely in kind of the center of the room, but not dead center.
Yeah,
and
it's those kinds of like gas station bathrooms that make me feel that way too, especially just because they look like somebody's loose approximation of what a bathroom should be, but it's just a little bit too big, you know? It's just a little bit too
like
big.
An AI-generated bathroom. Yeah, exactly.
Like, everything is just a little, like, if a human being really designed this, why in the fuck didn't they put the toilet just a little closer to any of the walls, you know?
Yeah. But that's such a fun concept, especially when you find one in real life, because it feels so, like, unique of, like, whoa, holy shit.
Yeah, and because of this whole backrooms thing, there's like a mythology to, like, you can mythologize those little moments for yourself of just like, oh, anyway, on with my day, you know? And it's fun. It's a fun little joy, I think.
It is, yeah. Oh man, I'm trying to think about other places that I've been to. Do you have anything that comes to mind that was enough to, like, stand out to you?
Weirdly enough, there were a lot of places on the Universal trip that were, because I was with my husband who is partially disabled. I spent a lot of time in service elevators and, like, wheelchair accessible entrances and things like that, where, like, they clearly did not give near, like, this is access. This is not part of the experience. This isn't part of the queue. This is simply a necessity for you to be able to access. And they pretty them up in a lot of places. Like, a lot of the rides have them prettied up. But in a lot of the older spots, it's really fucked. But there is one spot in the whole park that wigs me the fuck out in that feeling more than anything else in that whole place. And it is the queue for E.T. We've talked about the E.T. ride before on the show, so I'll keep brief. But
we have, yeah.
For those unfamiliar, the E.T. queue is... like, if you look up images of this thing, it is an interior space with big fake... It's supposed to be the redwood forest, like the Washington forest from the movie, right? with like, you know, and there's like a speak and spell on the ground from the movie and a space blanket, you know, and a couple other things like that. There's references to the film, but overall they've designed this place to look like a redwood forest at night, except they've done that in sunny Orlando, Florida at noon. And so like you step from outside and suddenly it's like 45, 50 degrees and the fucking like, and there are like crickets and like birds and shit. And like you can hear like rustling in the bushes and shit. And the like you can get close enough to the trees that like the trees that are further away from you look real enough, but you can tell the one you're standing beside, and thus the rest of them are just concrete trees that are painted. Like genuinely, they're not made out of like a foam or anything. No, these are concrete fucking trees and plastic. Like they're made out of like they have to be made out of like some kind of like what do you call it? Not plexiglass. Not plexiglass, but that other like hard shit that they make like ladders out of. Fuck. Fiberglass. Yeah, they're like fiberglass and shit. Where it's like, I shouldn't be able to like knock on this tree and hear a dong dong dong. I shouldn't be able to hear that. You know? And then like you're walking around and like not only that, it has this like, I want to say it's awful, but I kind of love it in like a gasoline kind of way where it stinks like chlorine and mold in there. Like it's a very clearly like everything about this place screams manufactured, but you're standing in like what is just barely convincing enough a forest, you know? Like it's definitely not. Yeah. You can tell, but it's wow, somebody put way too much effort into making this look this way. You know? Like somebody tried genuinely tried to make this convincing for the time, and in modern day it just looks just uncanny enough that it feels like one of those and not to mention again because we're at night and they're redwoods and they didn't want to do like how tall redwoods are before the ceiling. Those trunks just sort of stretch into darkness above you where you can't really see the ceiling either. So you don't know how high up it is.
Really uncanny.
And they don't have any fans or anything blowing on you like other ride queues do. It's genuinely just a really well temperature controlled area because they have not mascots, but they have like animatronic characters in rubber suits. So they kind of do like rubber suits that are already like 30 years old. So like 20, 30 years old. So they need to be under like really safe, like keep this thing at like 60 degrees, you know? And the ride itself, like the characters are uncanny, everything about it. But that queue is just such a standout place for me. But there's so many small ones. Like in the Men in Black rides queue, there's like, you walk across like a balcony and there's like a down area. Apparently that's accessible. And even the thought of being down there. But it's like a forced perspective. So like that floor is only really like 6 foot down. But they've scaled everything to make it look like it's like 15 foot down, like 10 or 15, like you're up on like a balcony, not like you could jump off and land down there and be fine, you know? Like
that's
be
crazy.
More than
so
fine.
It's like a quarter scale.
It's like 3/4 scale because it's like 5 foot down, or it's like 5 or 6 foot down, made to look like 10 or 12 foot down. So it's like only a little bit out of scale. And I could only really tell because at one point, like a ride operator walked through that spot, and I was like, "Holy shit! Oh my god!" And suddenly, everything I was looking down, like the illusion was broken, and like everything I was looking at was like, "No, those are holy shit!" And I Googled it after we left, and I was so sad because it was our last day in the park when I had Googled it. But apparently, if you catch them on a not busy day, they will just straight up let you in. They will just let you see that area.
That's crazy.
If the ride queue is like empty and it's like end of the day and you ask the employees, usually they apparently just let you walk that spot and see the props, you know? Because there's a lot of detail down there. There are papers on desks and shit with like forms written. There are jokes down there that you don't get to see unless you like go down there or take a picture and zoom in, you know? And so they let people down there occasionally as like, go check it out. Yeah, here, we'll stand here. Like an attendant will stand with you and you can go check it out. Just don't touch anything, you know? And I really wanted to stand down there, but I didn't get the chance to. But that's on my bucket list for next time I go.
Oh, yeah. You know what I actually really like about the Disney parks, though?
What's
I'm
that?
such a big fan of the Star Wars area, honestly. It's
Dude,
so
the Star Wars stuff looks really, really
but
cool,
the
though. The rides are really, like... I feel the same way about it that I feel about the Harry Potter
architecture
area
and performance is crazy.
of Universal, where it's like... The Harry Potter area of Universal has some of the like newest rides produced and thus some of the best rides produced. But like this isn't really a franchise I give any level of a shit about. Star Wars, I at least care a little. You know, I have like a modicum of care for it, and so I think I would enjoy that a lot. But like, I have a similar vibe about it where it's like, yeah, this is really high quality. This, like, I could see in like just looking at it that like somebody like really put some fucking money behind this, you know? But like,
yeah.
I don't know. Parks are full of those little liminal spaces, is what we were saying.
Mm-hmm. Oh my god,
like,
yeah, because I actually
cut around a corner to a hidden bathroom or like this or that's just like put out of sight for the sake of the aesthetic. Shit. And then you just get to the utilitarian part of it and it's so obvious. You did? Let's hear about it.
Because I got a behind the scenes look at the Disney park because I actually was a performer technically. Because our middle school band took us there and we performed at Disneyland and it was fucking crazy. So we actually got to go behind the scenes and like we got to go behind the sets where it's like, yeah, this is where our performers, they practice here. Oh, see, that's Tinkerbell over there. And then she'd wave and then she'd go back to like drinking her coffee. And it's like we're standing behind one of those facade walls of one of those fake buildings by the Guardian of the Galaxy place. And we're just fucking about. Like, it's just an empty warehouse back there, even though
pretty much,
like
yeah.
It's like a futuristic building. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, it's crazy that the minute you get to a point where you're not, like, the second you start looking for the illusion breaking, you can see, like, exit signs in Hagrid's fucking castle, dude.
Yeah. But otherwise,
like, that one's such a good
job.
I highly recommend looking up the queue for, like, Hagrid's, because that queue is bullshit. That queue, like the castle portion of that queue, because they have to have like exits and they have to have them labeled, and like because it's the fantasy area, they just have like insanely well detailed, like rustic, you know, groundskeeper's cottage with a big metal light up green exit sign over one of the closet doors, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
That just take you out of the fucking ride queue. And that's the only, like, that's one of the things that stands out to me as like, I almost, like, it disgruntled me a little bit in the moment because I was like, God, they're fucking everywhere. I can't look anywhere. Like, there were so many emergency exits on that queue in particular just because it was 1,000,000 miles long that it was like, dude, I genuinely, like, love the detail here, but I can't get immersed in any of it because I can't look anywhere without seeing an emergency exit. But in hindsight, I kind of find it a little bit charming that, like, the second... Because that's what you see as, like, a park goer. You see it very clearly that, not very queerly, but very clearly, like, the second you see a staff member step around a corner and you catch what's behind an open door, or you happen around the wrong corner and end up somewhere you shouldn't be for just a second, you realize, oh, this is Truman Show-esque in that, like, the second that the illusion is not necessary, it's gone. You know?
Like, your brain just can't keep it up anymore. It's just like, oh, well, it's over.
Well, no, the illusion stays for me in those areas. Like, I totally don't mind it. I actually find it, like, I like to think of it as part of the illusion to me. That's how I kind of curb that. Well, this doesn't, you know, appeal anymore because I've kind of ruined it for myself. Is that, like, I already, like, walk into parks with big fantastical areas imagining where they would put the emergency exits for that reason. Of just like, because part of the immersion to me is just like, I can dip in and out of, I'm a park goer enjoying this, and if I designed this, where would I put the nearest bathroom? Probably right over there. Let me look around for the nearest one, because then I seek it out as part of like a game of it, almost, you know? Of just like, when, like, if I find it myself and spot it, it's like finding like a haha, got you, and not like a I fucking made you look, caught you lacking rather, not a major look, but like I caught you lacking, and it feels like a little special moment still, and it doesn't feel like the illusion is breaking. It feels like I'm, you know, it feels like I'm seeing something that I shouldn't, and that's cool, you know. But yeah, the same thing happened with Basil. Basil talks about that a lot with when we went to Universal last year. They had a lot of thoughts about like, oh yeah, we took a band trip here one time, and we went behind Rip Ride Rocket, and we went through like a secondary entrance to the park over by where they have that piece of the Berlin Wall, which by the way, that's a thing. Did you know about that?
How big is that piece of the Berlin Wall? Because I've got a piece of the Berlin Wall.
It's like the size of your fist. It's not a huge one, if I remember correctly. That's what I'm told. Like, that's what I had been like told, was that it wasn't fucking huge. It was like a pretty little piece just framed. But it might be bigger than I think because I didn't actually get to see it. Because it's like so out of the way on City Walk that you would have to make a trip for it. But another thing that people recommend highly on those trips, because I've looked at a few like top 10 like secret things to do when you go to Orlando for like the parks. Especially for Universal specifically, since I had like been recently, and so all of it was fresh, so I would know exactly like when they talk about turn here, turn here, turn here. I know exactly what they're saying, you know. But like, you know, there was talks about like stuff like the Hard Rock Cafe. We were talking about like Jimi Hendrix guitar. I don't know if that was on the pre-show or not, but we were talking about that earlier. And they have some Jimi Hendrix stuff in that particular Hard Rock on City Walk. They have like a shitload of shit upstairs, and that's part of it. Is just like go take the tour. Go over there, take the tour. You can sit in a chair that Elvis sat in. You can fucking, like, you can eat in a room where a bunch of celebrities, like from, like, a bunch of, like, rock stars and shit would come and eat because this was just a spot, you know? Like, like, what was once the VIP room is now, like, still the VIP room, but it's the VIP room because it's got a bunch of, like, cool memorabilia and a bunch of cool VIPs have been there. You know? It's not like... Very important people don't go there. Regular people pay $100 to sit there and have like the waiter tell them cool facts about like all the shit on the walls. And I still want to do that. Even like that seems like a really interesting dinner to me. So I want to do that. Like that also made my like Universal bucket list for when we go back. But yeah, it's just like going once has just accumulated me with all these other things that I want to do when I go the second time. And because I've never like. Pre that, I'd never set foot in a major theme park ever beyond like a Six Flags, you know. And so like there's a difference between an amusement park like Six Flags where it's a bunch of rides on a concrete plat and like a theme park where they give a shit about what the like rest of the space outside of the rides looks like, you know. Like, and so, like, going to a theme park for the first, like, stepping foot in Universal Studios for the first day was such just, like, a, holy shit. There is so much to see, you know? And it's, like, it opened my eyes to, like, because of my fear of roller coasters and my lack of money, like, I've been missing out on, like, everything. Like, all the cool thrill shit to do. I've been missing out on all of it, dude. But you know, that's great though, because as an adult with adult money, that means that I can go and catch up on all that stuff, and I can go enjoy it and appreciate it, like for the craft of it too, beyond just I'll get more out of it than I would have as a kid, and thus it's kind of a boon anyway, you know?
Yeah. You know who else could catch up on stuff?
Who could catch up on stuff? We're 4 minutes short, Jed. Don't recap now. Don't rap now.
Huh?
The show won't be 2 hours long if we wrap right now. We're 4 minutes short.
Well, typically it's 4 minutes over because we added the intro and outro, and then like I was realizing that we should probably call it a little bit early, so it's still 2 hours.
What the fuck? Yeah, no, we're at an hour 57, Jed. Come on.
All right, we'll keep going. No.
Well, what's our 3 minute topic? No, pull us a 3 minute topic.
Oh shit!
Oh, I got one. I got one.
Yeah, your computer. You said you would talk about that on the pre-show, and you never did.
Okay. New computer is very good. That's what I talk about that. I have another one that's going to absolutely slap you in the face. The guy who sung "Watch Me Whip, Watch Me Nay Nay," Silento, has been sentenced to 30 years in prison for murdering his cousin.
Watch me whip. Watch me nay nay. Watch me whip. Watch me nay nay. Dude, I was in fucking second grade doing a Watch Me Whip Zumba class, and now I get to be 19 years old sitting at my fucking desk. Yeah, I was in first or second grade when Watch Me Whip came out, by the way. Live with that information for a moment. Yeah, dude!
What am I doing Zumba for?
I don't know. A bunch of the moms were just like, Zumba's cool. Let's do Zumba.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like in the morning, Zumba is for moms. Why in the fuck were? Oh, well, I guess that dictate what you do. So I mean,
yeah,
millennial women would be the reason why.
They were blasting "Watch Me Whip" at like 7 a.m. on like the fucking basketball court, and I was like, dude, what the fuck is going on? But like, I want to go back. I want to get a time machine, go back in time, like. Put a hand on that kid's shoulder and go, that guy singing that song right now, he's charged for murder. And then just leave. Like, eventually he's charged for murder.
Because you know what this story sounds like to me?
That song was
I found
everywhere.
that story. Yeah, that song was everywhere. And you know how I found out about this? I found out about this because I was scrolling like r/pop culture, even though I never use Reddit. I was just looking for news sources and trying to find some news, dude, to include as like part of our podcast. Because I thought we wouldn't have enough topics for the day. Boy, was I fucking wrong.
Yeah.
But like I found that out and I was like, dude, that sounds exactly like when we found out the peanut butter jelly time guy like died in like a shootout hostage situation.
That's fucking insane, dude. That's
and
that's
also
a crazy
he was Snoop
one to bring
Dogg's
up.
cousin, and Snoop Dogg came in to try and like calm him down at one point. Like the police gave Snoop Dogg the
Holy
megaphone
shit.
to try and like talk him down, and it did not work. The guy did kill himself. Or I don't know if he killed himself, but he got shot. He didn't make it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unfortunately for the
Oh,
poor
man.
guy. But anyway, that filled exactly 3 minutes.
That filled exactly 3 minutes. We did it.
All right, now
Congratulations
take your
for a good
outro.
podcast.
Shush it.
host.
Go ahead.
I did the intro, brother. It's your turn.
it's your intro.
I was just leading you into the
all right.
outro.
Yeah, no, okay. Well, we've been Vox and Jed, and you can find more about our show and more about us in our card down below. That'll have links to our socials. That'll have links to like where you can find the both of us, where you can find the show, both on YouTube and Spotify, Sundays at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. And on top of that, you can find in the description our Patreon, where you can go and sub on our $1 tier to be added to the credits as a name for a special thanks. And then on our $5 tier, you get that, and you get access to all of our pre-show episodes. We did a few for the final 10. We didn't do all 10 because we lost those. But like, you can hear more about that on the pre-show. But there are 5 pre-shows up already, and we plan to make one every week we do the show henceforth. So you'll continue to get brand new content every week for that. And yeah, stay safe, everybody. It's been a good one. Goodbye.
Bye!
What you will.